Long ago in the land of Israel, there lived a young boy named David. He wasn't the oldest in his family, or the strongest, or even the most important by world standard, but God had a plan for David, a plan to turn this humble shepherd into a mighty king. David's life began quietly. He spent his days in the field, caring for his family's sheep. Out there, surrounded by nature, David grew strong, learned courage, and developed a deep love for God. He often played his harp and sang praises to the Lord, finding joy in his simple life. Meanwhile, God was preparing something extraordinary. At that time, Israel already had a king, Saul, but Saul had turned away from God. The Lord told the prophet Samuel to anoint a king, someone after his own heart. Samuel was led to the house of Jesse, David's father. One by one, Jesse brought out his son, strong and handsome, each seeming like a perfect choice. But Samuel looked at them. God said, "Do not consider his appearance or height. The Lord looks at the heart, not outward appearance." Finally, Jesse called for David, the youngest. He wasn't who anyone expected, a shepherd boy with no claim to fame. God said to Samuel, "This is the one, anoint him." And there, in the presence of his family, Samuel poured oil on David's head, declaring him the future king of Israel. But David's rise to greatness didn't happen overnight. Soon after, Israel faced a terrifying enemy, the Philistine. Among them was Goliath, a giant warrior who mocked Israel and challenged anyone to fight him. No one dared to step forward, no one except David. David volunteered, saying, "The Lord who saved me from lions and bears will save me from this giant." Armed with one sling, a few stones, and an unshakable faith, David walked onto the battlefield. With one well-aimed stone, David defeated Goliath, proving that victory doesn't come from strength or weapon, but from trusting in God. Overnight, David becomes a hero. David's courage and leadership caught the attention of many, including the king. But as David's fame grew, Saul grew jealous and fearful, eventually seeing David as a threat to his throne. Saul tried to kill David, forcing him to flee and live as an outlaw. During these years, David's faith was tested. Though he had opportunities to harm Saul, David refused, saying, "I will not raise my hand against the Lord's anointed." He chose patience, humility, and trust in God's timing. Eventually, Saul died in battle, and the path was clear for David to become king. But David didn't celebrate. He mourned Saul's death, showing a heart full of compassion and grace. At last, David was crowned king of Israel. Under his leadership, the nation flourished. David wasn't perfect. He made mistakes like anyone else, but he always sought God's forgiveness and guidance. David's story is one of humility, faith, and trust in God's plan. From shepherd to king, his life reminds us that God doesn't choose the most obvious or qualified. He chooses those with a willing heart. David's journey teaches us that faith, even in the smallest among us, can do the greatest things.